Hello and welcome back to the AL Central Rundown. I'm Eric, and with me is Lee and Dan. Sam is jumping on a little bit late, and then Ty is actually, I think, still stuck on a golf course because his round's taking a little bit too long. But for those who are waking up, we did an episode at literally midnight last night because the biggest possible name in the division, Tarek Skubal, was traded to the Dodgers, and the world is so happy about it, let me tell you. We had our thoughts. So we're probably not going to talk about Skubal as much as you might think in this episode because we just spent an hour on it literally 14 hours ago. So
But let's give us some credit. We spent half an hour talking about Skubal and then another 30 minutes talking about the Dodgers.
that's true. We did have a Dodgers fan in our chat that we had a nice conversation with. So that was something. They do not have $40 beers in LA, in case anybody else is wondering. So we're gonna do a little bit out of order because typically we're gonna do the stats and standings here in a bit, but we're gonna do the game recap between Minnesota and Kansas City, which might seem a little bit weird, but there also something happened, like let's just say an ultimate grand slam that we may not see for another decade that we should probably talk about before we never actually talk about it again, and then we're gonna go into some trades. So with that, let's view some standing. Now, we are recording earlier than our normal time, so these games are still active. The Twins and Tigers play a little bit later, but the White Sox still lead the division. They actually have a little bit of gap. The Twins and the Guardians are now tied for second place. The Tigers are five games back from the White Sox, and then the Royals are still 13 games back. For the wild card, the Twins and Guardians are tied for the last spot, up a half game in the division, but I'm assuming the Twins are listed because of tie breaks above the Guardians. Not that that's like official yet, but who knows? So for hitting in the American League, the Twins still have the best offense in the American League, even though it certainly hasn't looked like it in the last week. The White Sox are second, the Tigers 6th, the Royals 10th, and the Guardians 14th out of 15 teams. For pitching ERA, the Tigers 3rd, the Guardians 6th, the White Sox 7th, the Twins 12th, and the Kansas City Royals 14th out of 15th. So, like I said, we're gonna, if we do have any breaking news, we'll talk about that too. I do have MLB trade rumors up that I am gonna refresh quite a bit, and we do have some games going on. So like right now, White Sox are up 3-0 in Tampa Bay in the 6th inning. I think Cleveland is up in the 5th inning in Arizona, and Kansas City and Colorado's playing, which Kansas City needs to win today to avoid a sweep in Colorado. So that would hurt a little bit, or at least it would hurt my feelings. But without further ado, let's talk about this really stupid series that the Twins won over the last week. So I will preface this by saying, if you look just at the win probability for the charts, you will see the Royals were pretty much leading in every inning except for in the 2 games, the literal last out of the game. So in game 1, Taj Bradley looked really good. It was Taj Bradley versus Seth Lugo, who this time last week I was basically saying was washed up and like dead in the water and was terrible and all of this. Well, he game managed himself into, I believe, a shutout. Up until, yeah, it would have had to have been a shutout. You definitely do see like the Twins had some opportunity, or not a shutout, a 1 game. Actually, do I have the right game up? Yes, I do. So, what I will say about this first game, it was incredibly frustrating because the Twins hit into 5 double plays. They had threats every inning, and for whatever reason, there would just be a hard liner or like a hard ground ball to shortstop or second base. It was one of the more infuriating games I had been watching all year. And not for nothing, to watch like Seth Lugo, who does have decent stuff. He does manage. He throws a bunch of different pitches. I think their expected batting average was like 250. The Royals was worse than that. So the Twins had opportunities to score, they just didn't. Until the ninth inning, they're down 2-1. Carantini comes up, hits a single. That's going to be a thing. This was an incredible catch by Isaac Collins, who saved a tie game. Absolute like heartbreaker in the moment. But then Royce Lewis comes up and hits the ball off of the right center field wall, and the Twins win it. So he had a walk-off triple, which is actually pretty hard to do because most of the scorekeepers will not go past a single on a walk-off hit other than a home run. But they gave him a triple. Maybe somebody will challenge that, but also maybe somebody doesn't care. So that's game one of the series. The Twins were down the entire game, I think, until. Actually, I lied. I think they got a lead in the fifth inning and then gave it up. The second game was more infuriating than the first because old friend Randy Dobnak, who I have a tremendous soft spot for, and as Sam said in our live stream on Friday, I think it was, I have put my money where my mouth is on maybe being Randy Dobnik's number one fan because I have a sweatshirt jersey of him from like 5 years ago. Also, Tyler Tolbert was a gnat the entire game. I didn't know who he was before this series. I was pretty frustrated that he was a thing the entire season. He had like a home run, a stolen base, but also freaking A, Salvador Perez hits a triple. Now, it took Luke Keeschel playing it off the carom pretty terribly to get it, but to have Salvador Perez hit a triple off you, you just kind of assume you're going to lose this game. Randy Dobnak, I think, 7 scoreless. The Royals shut out the Twins. That really is the entire game. It was really never in doubt. Joe Ryan had another questionable outing. He looked like he didn't have the stuff. He would say after the game that he is battling himself, something about mechanics. Does sound like he's going through a dead arm period, which I think most pitchers, I mean, every pitcher will go through a dead arm period throughout the calendar year. But with Joe Ryan, he does have a significantly worse second half in his career than his first half, so that is something to watch. But this was just a really frustrating game because the Twins, who should know more about Randy Dobnak than anyone on earth, just played into what he did well and just hit ground balls and just didn't do much against him. Just a lot of weak contacts. So I'm going to choose to believe that Randy Dobnak is. I mean, I hope he pitches for Kansas City next year. I think he's certainly pitched well enough. I think he has like a sub-2 ERA right now with them, but it really does kind of hurt your feelings knowing that the Twins, who are fighting for their life just to buy at the deadline, got shut out by a 33-year-old pitcher who hasn't pitched in the majors in 5 years.
Yeah, you want to hope that he's actually good and back because the alternative is just kind of sad.
Right, and it was just kind of sad. So no drama in that one. The Royals had it the entire way. And the second game, I'm just going to skip the highlights basically to the middle of it. Jack Caglione hit a ball about 9,000 feet to the point where if you're the type that was like, if you were busy doing something and you just heard the sound of the bat, you didn't need to look up. You knew it was a home run. Like, it was loud, and then you just hear the announcers go, oh. Like, so that was something. So the Royals get up 3-0. Nolan Cameron is throwing a one-hitter through 7, or through 8. They then pull him for Lucas Erceg in the 9th, who gets the first 2 outs. So it ends up being, so I think it's Ryan Jeffers gets out, and then Carantini gets hit, and then it's a walk, and then I can't remember how the last guy got on. It looks like Josh Bell drew a walk is what it was. Royce Lewis hit a single. So then it is Kody Clemens up at bat, and they bring in Strom. So it's a lefty-lefty matchup, and you can see from the win probability chart on the left hand of the screen what happened, but Strom hangs a slider in the middle outside part of the plate, and Clemens just barely clears it over the wall, down 3-0 for an ultimate grand slam. A win, and then this is just people have been making fun of this little exchange because there was a fan who I think like was with his dad, and clearly his dad is not the touchy feely part because he like wants to go in for a hug and then he ends up just like booping him in the belly. So this little thing like I think dad was going for a high five and the son wanted a hug. So there's been a couple of memes on Twins Reddit about this, but regardless, the Twins never were in the lead in this game until the last out. And until the last batter to their last strike, which there have been 34 ultimate home runs, which is exactly what Kody Clemens done. The team is down by 3 with in the bottom of the 9th. The last one I think was like 2022 or something like that. I think Lee said there was a Tiger who hit a penultimate grand slam, which is the visiting team doing it in the top of the 9th.
Parker Meadows against the Padres in 2024 on a 2-strike count as well. Penultimate. But yeah. We were joking about this a couple months ago. I think when Kody Clemens like had some go-ahead home run or something, we were like, is this his highlight for his career? This is his highlight for his career.
There was a stat. So he's now hit 51 home runs in his career. I think 20, Dan Hayes looked it up. He's hit 51 home runs in his career. 21 of them have tied or taken the lead, which is pretty timely. Like, obviously you can't predict that, but like maybe if the Twins need like a last jolt or just some offense, maybe Kody Clemens is not the worst bet. And by the way, they started calling him the missile, which is far from the cry of the bottle rocket, which I've been trying to get going for the last bit. But I guess the missile is a little bit cooler than the bottle rocket, but that's fine. So
I had watched that game in full. I had taken the day off that day, was hanging out, got to sit. I was dumbfounded at what transpired in that 9th inning. Just as close as you could get to winning the game and then just squandering it. Also, I understand wanting to go lefty-lefty to face Clemens, but Strom has been awful all year. And I know you don't, it's the Royals, they don't have strict roles for their bullpen, but Alex Lang is their de facto closer, and he had not thrown the day before.
Mm-hmm. That's what was weird to me too.
And it was a safe situation. I don't understand the lack of interest in going to him. Noah Cameron deserved better. He was so good in that game.
Well, I don't understand why after the first 2 reach base, you don't immediately start stalling and go to your bullpen to get someone warming up.
Well, I think he was, because it was pretty quick. The base, because there were 2 outs.
It wasn't the first 2 of the inning. It was 2 outs. Then we had.
I guess, but the point is, wouldn't you want to make sure that Strom gets out ASAP?
Well, like Strom was brought in to save the game from Urseg. Urseg is the one that gave it away. He's the one that.
I thought Strom had gotten all the base runners.
Strom faced one hitter. He gave up a grand slam too.
Oh, okay, never mind that. I thought Strom came in with 2 outs and nobody on, and then put on.
No, Strom was the life raft. And it just turns out that boat had some holes.
And I'm saying we chose the wrong life raft. Alex Lang should have been the life raft.
No, I totally agree.
Should have started the inning. It was a safe situation.
I think I got mixed up with the first game because I just misremembered.
Well, to be fair, it was confusing because the Twins shouldn't have won that game. They were down 3-0, and also. I guess like what I would have done. I'm normally a fan. I would bang the drum of. The starting pitcher, a young starting pitcher, shouldn't throw more than like 100 pitch. But Noah Cameron was literally throwing a 1-hitter.
No stress.
And like, just leave him out there. Like, what are the Royals fighting for? Noah Cameron would probably want that 1-hit shutout. Like, that would be like a good feather in his cap. Like, he did it. And they pulled him, which I get the logic of. And I guess it's much easier to criticize it now that the worst possible outcome happened. But I don't think you needed to overthink that. He had been dominating the lineup the whole time. Just leave him in and then bring in the rescue if you need.
I had watched the post game too, and they asked Quatraro about that. It was like one of the first, like, did you consider leaving Cameron in? And he was very curt. He was like, yeah, we considered it. That was the whole answer. Yeah, we considered it.
Funny.
Like
Did you watch Derek Shelton's post game?
No,
so his was funny because obviously it was the exact opposite. He was like cheers and high fives, but somebody asked him like, so what was the roller coaster of emotion? And his quote was, well, I went from extremely pissed to elation. It was just like, yeah. And then he also said, and it's my birthday. So like, I'm kind of he was still, you could kind of tell like he was angry, but he can't be because they won the game. But he was so mad at the offense that his answers were just like a twinge of anger in them. But then he just said, and obviously you never hear a manager say that he was extremely pissed and now he's elated. But it was a good time, at least for Twins fan. And then I did go back and I watched the Royals broadcast, and it was Kody hits the ball. It clears the fence, and there's about, I don't know, 3 minutes of silence. And then you just hear, unbelievable. That was the entire call.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was about it. But I remember, like, we were watching that in our Discord chat, and I think my reaction, like, my mouth just dropped open, and I think the only thing I came out with was, holy shit, in the chat. And that was it. Like, unbelievable. I may never watch a moment that great in a July game again. So that is the series recap. So I get another point, 6th one in a row, but I don't feel like I earned this one. The Twins just kind of lucked themselves into, they were literally 2 outs away from a sweep, and they won the series.
The Twins didn't win that. The Royals lost it.
I think that's pretty clear. But anything can happen. The White Sox have gone up 5-0, but the bases are loaded in the 6th in Tampa Bay. So I'm going to assume Ty did jump on for anyone who's not watching on YouTube. So we're going to talk about the Twins right after that, and then I think we're going to talk about Luis Castillo after that. So why don't we just talk about it? The Twins have been pretty busy this week, and even if you want to extend that out than the last month, they traded for Tommy Nance earlier this month, so for a marginal prospect, Ryan Sprock. They made another move for someone who was formerly very good, AJ Minter, who's on an expiring deal with the Mets. He has been a very good pitcher, but he's coming back from elbow surgery. He has $3 million left on his deal. His $11 million base salary, $3 million left for the end of the deadline. Why that matters for the Mets is because they're over the luxury tax. They would have ended up costing him literally $6 to $12 million. So that's their motivation to get rid of $3 million. His fastball is not what it was. He used to throw 97. He's now throwing 95, 93. But what he has done is he has swapped to using his cutter more, and his cutter does have pretty good results so far. He has a 326 expected slug, a 201 expected batting average, and his actual numbers are around that. So there is a little bit of risk with him, but he will now be their 3rd best reliever. He will be their best lefty by far. And I think the best way to use him, I think, or the best way to kind of exchange what they're going to get from AJ Minter is he's going to be the replacement for Anthony Banda before he went down for the lat, because Anthony Banda looked very, very good until he went down with that lat surgery. So overall, I thought it was a nice pickup, especially we'll get into what they gave up. This does check a box, and I think the surprising thing was it lasted. The surprising thing was that it lasted. It came in early, so nice little pickup for the Twins, I think. Any thoughts on Minter? Or just random reliever du jour?
Random reliever. Didn't really give much up for him. Low risk, like you said. improves the bullpen, but how much of a difference it actually makes is question.
So, I don't mean to jump ahead, but I'm mainly curious of outside of Minter, we've got the Twins getting him and one other relief pitcher. Are we going to get anyone other than a relief pitcher?
No, Kramer's a starter, but he's a back end starter. We'll talk about him next. I did just want to show also Savant's new comparison player is wonderful. Everyone should use it. So I did just want to show what Minter formerly was. 23, 24, 26, because he missed basically the bulk of 2025 with I believe it was also a lat. I don't know, whatever. He was out with shoulder surgery. So we'll see. What they gave up, though, was at the time the Twins' 14th best prospect in Billy Amick. He was a 2023 pick, 2024 pick. He was the compensation pick for Sonny Gray a couple years ago. Big hit tool. Or big power, probably going to be a first baseman. I think the comp I kind of picked for him, he's a different caliber of prospect, but Spencer Torkelson, I think if he has a career like Spencer Torkelson, he would enjoy that. Just a lot of slug. I don't think the Twins are going to miss him. The other guy, Bruin Agbayani, is more toolsy. He hasn't played much. He's been injured. He was like the Twins. I don't know if this is the Mets' new number, but he was around the 20s for the Twins. I mean, he's 19 years old. Maybe he turns it around and he could hurt, but I do think the reason the Mets targeted him, and this might sound stupid, is his dad, Benny Agbayani, was a pretty kind of like a folk hero in New York, and to have his son. I think all things being equal, they just wanted to get his son and the list of prospects the Twins were willing to part with. So that's what they did there.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just here's a list of 5 guys, pick one, and they picked the guy who they have kind of a connection to, just because why not?
Right. So the other trade we'll get into is the Twins then just picked up, like Ty was alluding to, they picked up basically back of rotation guy. Dean Kramer, he's been with Baltimore for a while. He has been consistently a back end of the rotation guy. They didn't get much. I will talk about the guy they gave up, Gianardo Reyes, as someone they might come back to rue that day. But Kramer does have a year and a half of control. He's just fine. I do think the Twins, who have taken a hit in their starting rotation depth, with Festa's done. Zebby Matthews has been up and down. Connor Prelip is going to have an innings limit here any day now. Then they had Ober out for a minute, and then obviously Pablo Lopez is done for the season, and then Mick Abel is also done. So Dean Kramer at least holds the floor for what the Twins have going into the deadline. They got him pretty early. What I will say, and I think this trade happened when we were live streaming on Friday for Max Clark's debut, is the guy they gave up, the Twins, they might come to regret this because they gave up an 18-year-old toolsy guy. This is his old rate, but he did play in the rookie ball league on the States, and he had like a 950 OPS in basically 150 at-bats. So Gianardo Reyes, very toolsy, fast. If it clicks for him, that could hurt. He could also be nothing. So this is the famed lottery ticket. So you'll see Dean Kramer in the Twins rotation sometime in the next week or so, but that's really it. As far as what else the Twins are go ahead.
Before you get off of that, whose spot you spoke to this with kind of the odds and ends that the Twins are dealing with, stuff like Prelip not having having an innings limit in the future. But who do you suspect he'll replace? Is it Prelip?
No, they'd sent down Zebby Matthews.
That's right. My mistake.
I
just want to lay this out. Kramer was very good last year. I think he was better than back-end starter last year. He's only thrown 36 innings this year, but has been awful.
Yep.
He's given up 12 home runs.
Yep.
Parker Messick has given up 11 home runs, and he's made 21 starts. Kramer's made, I think, 8 starts and giving up more home runs than Messick has. So that's got to get figured out. But I think you're picking up a distressed asset and hoping that you can kind of reclaim, right? So,
And with that too, like I don't think. I mean, they liked Kramer enough to trade for him, but I don't think the Twins are under any illusion that this is someone you want to throw out. This is a get me to the end of the season pickup, but he does have team control for next year. I think he can be fine, and also like I do have, whether I should or not, I have reasonable amount of faith that the Twins can do something with him to make him a little bit more. I'm not saying he's going to turn into a frontline starter, but I think the Twins have developed and drafted enough pitching in the last 5 years to make me think they can do something with him and maybe make him, a quarter of an ERA better. His expected ERA and his underlying numbers, they're pretty much in line with what his career has been. It's just, I think specifically you talked about in his he's given up 12 home runs this year. I think specifically he was gone for most of the year, came back recently, and I think he gave up like 11 earned runs in the last 2 starts, and that's what's really making it ugly. So he has like a 6.40 ERA. So it's not pretty, but and if he continues to have a 6.40 ERA, this is going to look terrible. That's not going to be a help at all, but he's a back end guy that at least allows you to play with Prelip, Rojas, and Matthews, because one of them I think has to go to the bullpen. It might be Prelip, but also Zebby Matthews has been so up and down that it's his 3rd year basically of having a 5 ERA. He has good stuff. I think I was saying this before the start of the year that they should probably try him out in the bullpen, but then all the starting rotation stuff happened, and Zebby has looked good. There's like yesterday was a good example what he did. He gave up, I think, 3 runs in the first, and then he gets to the 5th inning and he strikes out 10. So I don't know. I feel like you put him in 1 inning, he might be able to touch 100 and he might be an actual weapon, but that remains to be seen. Calling him down, though, does seem a little bit harsh, and they actually told him it's because they needed, because he just pitched, that's why he's being thrown down. So at least they were honest with him. As far as what the Twins are going to do, well, they tried trading Trevor Larnach until literally the owner of the Astros stepped in and said, no, we're not trading Brian Abreu, who was formerly a very, very good reliever. And Kramer, I think, is it Kramer? I can't remember. Crane, I think, the owner of the Astros. He likes to hold on to players. Once he has his favorites, he likes to hold on to them. And he nixed the Trevor Larnach trade. So I do think the Twins will do something, probably a bullpen arm. But also, I told Lee this before we got on the recording here. Once you basically have a deal finalized for a player and it gets out and known to that player, it's going to be pretty hard not to keep him on the roster, I think. Like, that toothpaste came out of the tube, and that player is going to be a little bit of like, what the F is this type stuff, but we'll see. Doesn't mean they have to trade him, but I do think there's an openness to trade him.
So. Happened to Dalton Connect, completely different sport. If anybody even knows that reference, that's great, but it does happen. He went back to the Lakers after that trade got rescinded, but
is that different situation?
Okay.
So
happened to Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I think Eric, now that we're poking holes in his point, I think he's mostly right. Like, they're going to probably try to find somebody else to pick Larnach at this point.
And to like the Twins' credit, they did. Once it got leaked that, because Larnach basically woke up to social media telling him he had been traded and had been rejected, the Twins did Shelton did pull him in the office and be like, yes, this was almost completed. You are being talked about. Like, they were just honest with him, because also, which sounds like a very low bar, but at least like they were open to him after.
What else could they do?
Right.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, the players, as a player, you have to assume that you're being talked about if you're playing well for a team that's not in the race, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get you don't want to. Like Buxton, we talked about that earlier in the season. Like, that would piss me off, right? I'm your star player. But for somebody where it's like, hey, you kind of make sense that you're going to get traded.
Expiring contract, and if you're on if you're going to be a free agent in 2 months and your team kind of sucks, you have to assume that people are calling about you.
With Larnach, he does have a year and a half, but to your point, I don't know if the year and a half is that valuable.
Is that an option, or is that just
arbitration?
Oh, okay.
So you can choose to not tender him a contract. So I was surprised that they could. I mean, granted, go look at Brian Abreu's season. It's not a great season. So, but it would have been a major league reliever. So like whatever, the Twins just need him for 15 innings, 15, 20 innings, whatever. So I suspect Trevor Larnach will be traded. We'll talk about it later, but Ryan Jeffers is also clearly on the block. There are still scouts in Target Field, or I guess it's now safe, T-Mobile Park in Seattle, that teams are still looking at Ryan Jeffers. But there was a report that Jeffers has told the Twins if they offer him the qualifying offer, he will reject it, which helps the Twins out in holding a line that if Jeffers rejects the qualifying offer, they're going to get an end of the first round pick. So they can hold a line for essentially a near top 100, top 150 pick, 150 prospect, whatever that word mumble was.
Is your expectation that happens? And as a fan, do you like that happening?
I would prefer to hold on to Jeffers if I can, because also a catcher hitting with a 900 OPS is unbelievable. That's Mike Piazza. But I think what it does is if the Twins do trade him, I think it's going to be a return that's going to be like, yeah, they needed to do that. I think they will do very well in that. So we'll see. That's the Twins, but that's not even the biggest name that was acquired yesterday, because former Cy Young candidate Luis Castillo made his way to the South Side. And Ty, I'll let you talk about that. I do have some stuff in here if you're not ready to talk, but I'll let you take over.
Let's just start with instant reaction. I'm happy that Dominguez is gone. If you talk to Dan, Nolan Jones wasn't anything I had on my radar based solely on Dan's feedback he gave me a couple weeks ago. And then Boston Smith going over was interesting. I think we should talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. But focusing on Castillo, he has had good seasons. He is a good pitcher. Mm-hmm. This year, it isn't there yet.
No.
So this is a buy low move for the Sox. They're getting out of Dominguez's contract, which that was a 2-year, $20 million, I believe. Getting rid of Nolan Jones, which I don't know if he had any past the majors, and then Boston Smith, again, the catcher. But if our pitching lab, if you will, now keep in mind, when we say pitching lab for the Sox, Sean Burke, Davis Martin were never supposed to be as good as they were for the time that they have been.
Sure.
So apparently this coaching staff have figured something out. I think that's the approach with Castillo.
I think there's a difference between prospects who were not necessarily highly graded prospects performing well when they first come up versus fixing pitchers who have issues and they used to be good. You know what I mean? I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think it's a different.
It is a different scenario. I agree.
I think, and we're just picking nits here at this point, but I need to see a few more years of the White Sox pitching to improve in order for me to call them a pitching lab or a pitching factory or whatever. But they do have there's guys you can point to that say that they play better in Chicago, and that's great. But I need time for that for me. But
absolutely.
Anyway, go on.
But beside the point, again, it sounds like more of we're going to go in on Castillo and get him and give up what we have to give up. I mean, we took on the money too, which part kind of weird to me. I want to say $22 million, or the rest of the $22 million this year, and then a full 22 next year.
So it's about $8 million this year.
Okay.
It's $24 million next year, but then there's a vesting option dependent on injuries in 2025 and 2027, which it's possible.
That's 180 innings if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So it's possible that already vested because it doesn't say 2026. It says 2025 and 2027. So That's weird phrasing to me. I'm assuming it's more clear in his contract, but it's possible they're going to pay him $50 million for the next 2 years. That's really it for the contract. But yes, trading Dominguez was to balance that out. Also, I don't think they gave up much for a flyer and Luis. I like this trade for the White Sox. I think it can blow up, and I think Luis Castillo, if he truly is cooked, and there's signs that he's cooked, but I like the upside play. So
it is a high upside, absolutely.
So and my initial reaction on seeing this was Seattle kind of got a little bit fleeced. Was because it does. Maybe I'm just high on Luis Castillo compared to other guys. I'm like, okay, he's getting overpaid, but like he has been very good in the past.
I don't think he's not the same caliber because who I'm going to mention was at the kind of the height of his powers. But like when the Royals acquired Johnny Cueto on their World Series run,
good comp.
The Cueto was at a stronger part of his career, but to me it seems like that's kind of the play here with Castillo. I mean, the warning signs, his strikeout rate has dropped every year for the last 4 years. 4 years ago it was 27%, and now it's at 19%. His walk rate has gone up, but it's gone up moderately. He's now at 7.2. It's still below league average, which is fine. But what would really concern me, his expected ERA was at 3.94 5 years ago, and it has gone up basically a half a run every year since. And now his expected ERA is 4.83. So, and not for nothing, when we talk about pitching lab, there's no doubt Seattle has a pitching lab. They've had tremendous starting pitchers and good bullpens for.
That's also in a pitcher's park, though. Keep that in mind.
It is a pitcher's park.
I'm not saying that's the only thing, but
also to your point, Mariners will have pretty extreme road splits because of the hitter friendly or the pitcher friendly T-Mobile Park, not Safeco. I still got to get that out of my head.
The one other thing, while we're on the Savant page, if you could go down to his pitch mix where it shows the expected slug, Eric got me really into this earlier in the season. None of it's good. I mean,
it's not great.
Oh my goodness. I'm hoping we figure something out with him. Again, you're hoping that he can be a better option than Fetty or Noah Schultz down the line. It was announced. Venable did say that Fetty would be moving to the bullpen, so Noah Schultz has not lost his rotation spot yet. If Luis Castillo, a aging Luis Castillo, who's more of a project this year and next year, is your fifth starter, okay.
Right.
I think also he does add a little bit more stability and a little bit more just experience there. He's got so many young pitchers.
Yeah.
He's had a little bit of playoff experience. He's 33. I mean, he's been in the league a lot longer than everyone else in that starting rotation. That's something. I think other point. Sorry.
Nope. Go ahead.
Well, my last little point on this trade is this isn't a criticism, Utah. Just when the first thing you say about a trade is, "Oh, I'm glad the guy we're overpaying is no longer on my team." That's kind of a. That's not a great indication.
At least we don't have to worry about him giving us some more heart attacks and blowing saves. That's what it is at the end of the day.
Do you we'll talk about Dominguez in a second, but to me this opens I don't think the White Sox are done. I feel like there's a couple moves coming, one or two.
They haven't actually announced that they're still open to adding another starting pitcher and then still a catcher coming through.
I'm gonna guess reliever now too, because I know Dominguez was not well thought of, but they did. There's a reason they signed him in the offseason, is they wanted a high level.
But if Fetty moved to the bullpen, if they're not insisting on him, and I'm just saying, if they're just saying that, hey, we're going to move Fetty to be a bulk guy, let's say 2-3 innings, and we'll throw him out there if we have to, or they're going to pair up Castillo and Fetty, like they have with Castillo and I don't remember who Seattle's pitcher is, but they've been piggybacking. That's a spot. So if we're not getting rid of Fetty, then do we really need another relief pitcher?
Yes. You can never have too much relievers in going into the playoffs.
But I would rather them prioritize another good or above average starter than a
I
AJ
think
Minter.
you can do both though, because really, like, look what the Twins gave up for half a season of AJ Minter. They're 20th best prospect and their 28th best prospect. Like you can find, and like every crappy team has a couple of relievers you can go and get.
Yeah.
So that I would expect them to do it, but who knows?
And again, I just want to call out, like when you talk about what you traded out, again, we're transitioning to that now. Dominguez has been at best a okay pitcher for the last couple of weeks since he's no longer in high leverage situations. But like, I don't want to have to worry about him in whatever inning he pitches in. I mean, as AL Central, as our opponents, as if Dominguez is gone, you're like, okay, well, that's one less pitcher we can go and blow up, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't blame them for moving on from an $11 million pitcher who was underperformed as a closer, but there's something here. Like his whiff rate is very good. He strikes out 28% of batters. There's something to like.
Should we be evaluating this as a trade or should we be evaluating this as a salary dump?
But they took on salary. Like each team kind of did both.
I think this is, and I used this term earlier, and it's probably going to pop up a lot. This is trading a stressed asset for another stressed asset.
Yep.
That's what this is. My trouble with this trade is, why did Chicago have to give up so much more to get a starting pitcher who hasn't really been that? I perceive Dominguez and Castillo to be nearly equals. The one differentiation between them is one of them guys can pitch several innings and the other one can only throw one at a time. If that's worth the 14th best prospect in the White Sox system, so be it. I think that's up to the White Sox to decide, and they obviously have. But to me, Castillo's 33. He's lost 2 miles an hour on his fastball since 2023 or whenever it was, just in the last few years. I don't know that this guy is getting reclaimed. And on the opposite side of things, Dominguez's problems are what Dominguez's problems have always been. They've been his control. He's also given up a few more home runs this year, but that's
you also put him in high leverage spots. The problem with Dominguez was putting him in spots that we couldn't afford to have him in.
Then who else is going to pitch in those high leverage spots? Why not just move
Grant
Dominguez
Taylor, Brian Hudson? I mean, we have guys that are there. That's why we're able to get rid of them. Anyone else?
No, I get that. I don't know that. I don't know. To me,
Dan, I don't think your take is wrong. I think it's a ceiling for ceiling. We believe the ceiling of Castillo is higher than the ceiling of Dominguez, Nolan Jones, and Boston Smith combined.
It's
fair enough. I personally think Dominguez is going to have a better 2 months than Castillo. That's my opinion.
That's fair.
However you want to measure
it. Trading in a vehicle that's got 150,000 miles on it for a vehicle that's got 100,000 miles on it.
Right.
And to Sam's point, I don't know that either of them things are going much further. I just think you're going to get a handful more miles out of Dominguez than you are out of Castillo. So maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Sorry to keep interrupting everybody.
I think also you're looking at Nolan Jones, the positive asset. I think he's a negative asset. He's just a salary dump. It's just...
I didn't really consider him either, quite frankly, but I think you're probably right.
I think he's actively a negative asset, and it's literally just, okay, we're going to take on all of Luis Castillo's salary. Help us not see Nolan Jones $1 million extra this year.
Allow me to point out that the White Sox signed up for Nolan Jones. They went out of their way to go get him. They also signed up for Sir Anthony Dominguez. They went out of their way to go get him. So no matter how you get here, some poor decisions were made somewhere along the way. But maybe this is the good decision. I don't know. But I also trust Seattle to get more out of Dominguez than I trust the White Sox to get out of Castillo. That's just my opinion.
For just to talk about Boston Smith, who they did get. Now this is again MLB Pipeline has not done their redraft rankings, but at the start of the race season, he was a 40 grade prospect, which basically means he's a backup. Below average hit, average power, average run, average arm, below average field. He's 23-year-old in Double-A. He's gone up three teams, but he does have in 72 at bats. He does have 1,000 OPS in Double A, and this is after 100 at bats in High A. But also, he'd be 23 in High A. He should be crushing that competition. The Double A is very encouraging, so maybe he's gonna kind of balloon up a little bit. So, but I don't think they gave up that much for him.
This is selling high on Smith from everything I've seen.
Sure. And then Nolan Jones. We know Nolan Jones. We've talked about him to death. I think he was added in for salary relief, and that's it. So it's basically a challenge trade was what it comes down to. Castillo for Dominguez. Dan, would you have done this trade if you were Chicago?
If I was Chicago?
Yeah.
I don't know what other offers they had on the table.
If this was the only offer on the table.
If this was the only offer?
And that we weren't giving up top 10 prospects, all of the other things that are involved.
I don't think I would have done it.
Okay.
I would have held on to Dominguez, and he's got a 2-year deal? Or am I wrong on that?
Yep.
I would have tried again in the winter.
Okay. Sam, we talked about the recap of the series already. Do you just want to scream into the microphone for 20 seconds to get it out, or?
No, I don't. And this is something that I discussed a couple days ago with you, Eric. I've gotten to the point where when something stupid happens, it's not. I don't treat it with anger. I don't treat it with frustration. And this is a great strategy, folks, for just dealing with, your life, managing your mental health. Whenever something ridiculous happens, I've just gotten to the point where I pretend like I'm in the office and I'm looking into the camera and I'm just like. So when I saw that the Twins had hit that grand slam, I just rolled my eyes and went, ugh, and moved on with my life, So yeah, I the whole series, I mean, there were some bright spots for the Royals, of course.
Randy Dobnak, big ass bright spot.
Randy Dobnak, absolutely. Noah Cameron looking good. All these things. And it just came down to the same old story. Lucas Urseg and Matt Strom and Alex Lang just can't get a guy out. And they are the reason why the Royals have probably the worst bullpen ERA in the league right now. And I mean, that's a little bit deceptive because there have been guys in the Royals bullpen this season who have been pretty good, like, Lynch and Schreiber. But man, it's just the same old thing. And someone posted on the Royal subreddit, what could we get if we traded Q at this point? And I think the top answer was 2 Kit Kat bars, maybe. It was a tough series, and it was more of the same, and as I've said, who cares at this point,
right?
Who cares if you win, if you lose? Who cares if Noah Cameron ends up throwing 115 pitches? Who cares if you call up some lottery ticket guy from AAA at the it doesn't matter. We've reached who cares territory with this team. So, but
you have a chance to kind of get hopes up for next year, starting hopefully tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, my hope is that next year will just be like a really short season, and the Royals can just like have a really good 3 months next year, and that's all they'll need. They'll have a really good 90 games, the Royals will, and that'll get them where they need to be next season.
Hey, if the last 3 years, sorry.
Jokes aside, that might be the smart play
for the Royals.
For any team, to organize your team with the assumption that next year is going to be a short season.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of reports of a bunch of owners and GMs are operating this deadline like there's not going to be baseball next year.
I mean,
you got to plan for every contingency.
Yep.
That's
yeah.
I don't take too much stock in that.
Yeah, but I will also say there's something to be said for, anytime you're playing like a competitive, like, whether it's Magic the Gathering or chess or baseball or whatever, play the game as it's being played right now. Mm-hmm. Don't play the game assuming that something's going to be different in the future, so yeah, but no, that's all I have to say on the Royals series against the Twins. It was fun to see the ultimate grand slam by Kody Clemens. I think that is now his career highlight.
Yep.
I asked earlier if throwing out the first pitch or catching the first pitch from his dad would be his career highlight. I think this now is cemented as his career highlight.
It's going to be hard to top.
It'll be hard to top.
It's going to have to take some postseason drama for it not to be his best home run.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's that. And now, and then of course, now you've lost 3 in a row and you go lose by 6 runs to the Rockies last night. So, but
what do you do?
What do you do?
Season is sunk. So we'll talk about the Royals, because they did make a trade. I do want to go to the Guardians because we might spend a little bit of time on this one. They made a trade with the Brewers, which I feel like that's like the Spider-Man meme. Like they're just pointing at each other, like who's getting who. But anyway, so the Guardians get Blake Perkins and Craig Yoho, which I'm going to have to hesitate to do a lot of pirate jokes for the rest every time he comes in. But they gave up Cody Hewer and Bo Naylor. So round of applause, everyone. Bo Naylor finally out of the division. We did it. It took 10 years to get the Nailers out of the division, and we finally achieved it.
Did Tarek get a round of applause last night, by the way?
Yep.
He should have.
See, Eric, you're jinxing yourself because this just means that someone's going to trade for Miles Naylor.
I know.
Yeah. Well, he's really tearing it up at high A. He's not. He's kind of not good at high A.
That's fine.
21-year-old.
Well, he hasn't faced the AL Central yet, where he will become an immediate all-star. So, Dan, talk about Yoho.
I can start there, I guess. So I was just going to kind of do this combined. Bo obviously won't be facing the AL Central much anymore. He'll be in the NL West, or I'm sorry, the NL Central. This feels like, as I've said on the show, the Guardians had kind of made a determination on how they wanted to handle their catching position moving forward, and that was with the best defensive catchers that they could possibly find on the planet, and they've got 2 of those, and that's what they're moving forward with. That didn't include Bo Naylor because he really struggled at the plate in a year where he needed to kind of put up or shut up, and he didn't. We had talked on the show about, I wonder what their plans for Bo will be moving forward because of this. And, I had thought, maybe they'll non-tender him this winter. And I whiffed on that. I wish I would have realized that he's a catcher. Catchers are valuable. They were going to try to move him before the trade deadline, and because his future was no longer going to be in Cleveland. What that means is you're not going to get the most value you can. You're telegraphing the fact that he's not part of your future. You're not going to be able to kind of wring the most value you possibly can out of a trade. But I will say that what the Guardians got is at least interesting. And the part of it that's interesting to me is Craig Yoho, who, depending on who you ask, is anywhere from a marginal relief pitcher prospect to a guy with a really great weapon of a changeup that may be a difference maker. Now, the thing that makes that interesting is when I say depends on who you ask, there's a baseball statistician that was out there on the internet a couple years ago who, and I appreciate Leaf discovered this. I'm not taking credit for this, but who this individual had come up with pitching metrics and metrics for different pitches in general. And one of the things that he discovered was Yoho had an incredible changeup according to his stuff rating. The Guardians just so happened to hire that guy like 2 years ago. So if nothing else, there is a matching of philosophies here where the Guardians, one, really believe in this pitch that he has, but two, also feel like they can work with it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have kind of made this move. The Guardians, it wasn't a primary need, but some relief depth is a good thing. I think every team needs it. They've kind of swapped around who the last guy in their bullpen is all year, like most teams do. But this just adds another element to that because Franco Aliman had kind of gotten graduated into staying into the bullpen. He had less options. And I think, we'll see what Yoho does, but I think he's at least going to be part of that swap around with guys like Will Dion, who was sent down for Yoho's ascension today. Daniel Espino is another one. So I do think he'll make some impact immediately. We'll see what kind of leverage they utilize him in. I'll be curious to see what that is because obviously they think highly of him, but they can kind of start small. They also got Blake Perkins, which is a guy who can play center field and play it pretty well. And that's about it. He is Stuart Fairchild, but a switch hitter. And that's fine. They may have a use for that at some point in time over the course of the last 2 months. But I do not expect him to make waves. I do not expect him to be anything resembling what they need to help an offense that's 28th in WRC plus. But I think this is a situation where they kind of got what they could get for Bo Naylor. And yeah, so Hoyer is interesting in that they had tried to reclaim him this year. He was fine. He was another guy that was kind of within that rotation of guys that were getting swapped out of the bullpen. And I just think they like Yoho better. I just think they think more highly of him. They thought Hoyer was fine, but they were willing to part ways for somebody they think they could maybe make into a weapon. So I think that's all I have on the trade. If anybody has any questions.
Can I just, it's necessarily, it is about Perkins, but like, is there a difference? Like, what are they getting with Blake Perkins they're not getting with Petey Halpin?
They're not. That's the thing. I think, Halpin's been the starting center fielder for at least a couple weeks now. Perkins is depth. I don't think it's anything more than that. I don't expect Perkins to supplant Halpin on the roster or anything like that. That's the extent of it. And really, I think that part of it's kind of, I don't want to say confusing, but I think they got what they could get. Because you're right. I think Perkins is a bit redundant because they've got Schneemann in the minors now. Those are guys that could play center field and maybe get a hit. And that's about it. So they got what they could.
White Sox just hit another home run at the top of the ninth. They're up 7-0 against the Rays. So bully for them. Okay. Anyone want to share their least favorite Bo Naylor story? Maybe we all saw him like punch a puppy one day. I think we all saw that, right?
I will say, just to put a cap on this, Bo Naylor was a first-round pick at one point in time. The Guardians put a heck of a lot of sweat equity into that guy to try to make him, a quality catcher behind the plate. The tutelage he had with that staff, Sandy Alomar, Stephen Vogt, Austin Hedges as a mentor. He was expected to be a hit-first catcher to begin with. Man, was that a bust.
Yeah.
That was a blow-up. That did not work. And there's been some talk locally about fire the hitting coach. Hitting development's awful. They need to clean house. I'm not saying all that, but if you ever wanted to give an example to support those arguments, one just exited the organization a couple days ago. So Not ideal.
I can confirm Bo Naylor is not in the Epstein files.
Was that a question?
That's a good start.
So if we're looking for some dirt on Bo Naylor, that's not the place to look.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
like, have you met his brother Josh?
Yeah, I didn't think
All right,
about Josh.
Like,
let's look up
can
just
you be
Naylor. Let's see
can
if
you be
anyone named
negative just by
Naylor is
I was
in
comparison?
gonna
the
say, do you
Epstein
literally just
files.
have the
lineage?
Epstein files on like Control F right now?
He is a
You
newsman.
know, there's like multiple websites where you can just search
Oh, I
whatever you
know.
want, and you can find stuff in the Epstein files. It's not hard to find.
Oh yeah, it got a ton. I know it got a ton of traction like when it was first released because it kept on college football meme subreddit just searching up whatever university you want to dunk on, and then you can say, oh, they
Mhm.
appeared X amount of times in the Epstein files. Like I think Ohio State shows up a ton, Michigan shows up some, you know, all that kind of stuff.
I believe Sammy Sosa is in the Epstein files.
Well, then let's talk about the Royals, and they made a trade.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of shocking world
no, not
events,
speaking of no.
someone was interested in Bailey Falter,
Hey,
villain of the show 2026. Speaking of villains, someone wanted Bailey Falter in the year of our Lord 2026.
is it safe like when they say want Bailey Falter? Do you think they just accepted Bailey Falter? Because I don't think he was the driving force in this trade.
Well, let me put this to you like this, Eric. The Royals got 2 pitchers.
Yep.
For in this trade, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Do you think the Royals would have gotten 2 pitchers for Lane Thomas alone?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
I mean, this is the same Atlanta team that wanted Aaron Bummer. I'm putting that
fair.
out there.
That's fair.
Yeah.
They might see something in Falter. So I don't think it's impossible. Part of me thinks, hey, you get Lane Thomas. How about like we have this deal complete, but like how about a Bailey Falter for nothing? Like how about it?
I mean, maybe. But the 2 guys that the Royals got are 2 fellas by the name of Lucas Braun and Carter Holton. Now, Braun appears to be an MLB ready pitcher.
Yep.
He is in AAA. He's sort of control first righty. He's got pretty good numbers on the year at AAA at what's the AAA? Gwinnett. Yeah, Gwinnett. So I would imagine we're going to see him in Kansas City sooner rather than later. The Royals need some arms. He might make a quick, pit stop in Omaha, and then he'll be in the show. I mean, again, when he got traded, he is now the Royals' 11th best prospect.
Yep.
So that's pretty good. That's a good, MLB ready guy right there. Carter Holton is a former 2nd round pick and has some pretty decent, grades on his stuff. But I think one of the things for me is Carter Holton's this guy's not just a lottery ticket. This is a guy who's had a 2nd round pedigree. He's had some injuries that have set him back. He's struggled a little bit in Single A Augusta. But for the most part, he looks like a guy who at least, was a high draft pick. And that's not nothing. That's a little bit more than a lottery ticket. That's maybe like, that's maybe like one of those big like $10 or $20 scratchers,
Right.
A little bit better than a Powerball ticket. So I don't think that the Royals got both of these guys in exchange for 2 months of Lane Thomas. I think someone in the Braves organization had to be interested in Bailey Falter, and that's why the Royals got both of these guys. So that's just me and my reading of the situation. And I think this is a great trade for the Royals. Yeah. I think this is a You get some arms, you get a guy who's ready to pitch for the big league club, and you move on from a guy who was on a 1-year deal who didn't really seem like, there's no reason on holding on to him.
Right.
So I would imagine that Kyle Isbell will be making his return probably on probably.
I saw him. I've been watching some minor leagues. He's on rehab. I saw him in a lineup somewhere against the Twins. I can't remember what level though.
Yeah, I'm guessing Kyle Isbell will be back pretty this week, which is the other reason why you make this trade. So yeah, I like the trade. I think it's good. More to come. And hey, if the Royals can get that for Bailey Falter and half a season of Lane Thomas, perhaps what I said about the going rate being high is, the market's going to bear whatever it does. So
I think we've kind of seen so far based on other trades. Like Peralta just got dealed earlier. We saw what the Google return was, what the Sox gave up for Castillo. I don't think the asking prices or the prices are what we thought they were going to be this year.
To Sam's point, I was curious. 2024, the Guardians traded for Lane Thomas to Washington. Now, at that point in time, he was 2 years younger. He was team controlled. He also had a 108 OPS plus, which is basically the same as his 104 OPS plus. Now, my point is his value was probably a tiny bit better, I would say.
And he was coming off his best season as a pro the year before.
The Guardians traded Jose Tena for Lane Thomas, and I believe it was a 1-for-1. I'm going to verify that real quick. But Jose Tena was the 24th best prospect in the Guardians system at the time. You know what? They traded Alex Clemens as well. So there was more to that. But it was 2 prospects. Clemens was a very similar, high rank, not first round pick, but first couple of rounds pitcher, and then a lower level position player. So it feels similar, but it feels like maybe you got a little bit more than what was given up for Lane Thomas 2 years ago.
Yeah. And, granted, I think the Braves are a little bit more of a win now team than the Guardians were 2 years ago. I think that they are very motivated to, make something happen this season. The Braves are, and who knows, they could definitely, if we look up in November and the Braves are in the World Series, that wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I think they were very much looking for a running mate to have alongside Mike Yastrzemski in that outfield. So now they've got it. And what a coincidence that they've got 2 former Royals in there, just like they did in 2021 when they won the World Series, when they traded for Jorge Soler in the middle of the or at the trade deadline rather. So maybe Braves. Mm-hmm.
You're muted, Eric.
I think you're muted, Eric.
I am. Yes. It was a dumb joke. You guys are probably happy it was muted.
Okay. So yeah, I like the trade. And let's see some more action.
All right. Well, not that there's an elephant in the room, but like I said at the start of the show, we did an hour of Tarek Skubal talk. Well, 45 minutes of Tarek Skubal talk, and then debating about the Dodgers and how evil they are. So we haven't talked about him yet. We have the full group. I'll start off with Lee, who's now had sleep to digest this, but also the internet is not happy about this one, to say the least. So I'll open up to the group, but I'll let Lee start first.
Yeah, and obviously it's very emotional, right? Because we're talking about a guy that Tigers drafted, developed, have had be extremely good for the past 2.5 years. And I'll get into all that later, but for now I'll just talk about the return, which is 2 top 100 prospects plus another throw-in that looks promising. I don't hate the return. I don't love it. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where like, yeah, this is good. I would have liked to see a bit better, but I also think I was almost expecting we would get this is more than what I was expecting at the same time. So kind of I think it's good, right? Kind of in between there. Yeah, I like Zaire Hope. I feel like he could be right fielder next year, this time next year, possibly. River Ryan, I don't like the injury history. I don't like that he's 28, but he has really good stuff, and I like that. I like his stuff. And then the other guy we got, who I forget his name, he has a 13K per 9 rate, which is really good. So, there's potential there. Yeah, I don't hate. I guess I don't hate it. This is kind of what we were expecting. There's a lot of mixed reactions, I will say. Like a lot of, ESPN has given it a D grade for the Tigers, and John Heyman has said, "Oh, a rival exec," he said, "Oh, this was a bupkis trade," and I'm like, okay, you can go fuck yourself.
There's
also,
a word I haven't heard in a long time.
John Heyman, if you're gonna make up shit, say a word that humans below 70 say.
Oh, I say this trade is hokum.
Yeah,
the balls are
just
dashed.
A bunch of tomfoolery in this trade. I say,
poppycock.
What a bunch of hooey.
Just God, stop making stuff up, John Heyman.
I feel like there's this weird psyop with all the national media people trying to convince everyone that the Tigers got fucking fleeced, but that's just not the reality of it. The people whose baseball opinions I respect say that it's a good return for the Tigers, that being Baseball America and Just Baseball and the Tigers minor league report guys. Like it looks like a good trade for the Tigers. It's a decent return. It's not blowing you away return, but it's also not a fleece. It's somewhere in the middle. We won't know the actual value of this until 4 years from now. So how about we take a chill pill? Zaire Hope looks like he could be very good. Like even in John Heyman's where he said, "Oh, they didn't get enough." He also called Zaire Hope a future multi All-Star, which, like, okay, my kind of comparison for Zaire Hope is like a Riley Green or Jack Caglione. If we got Riley Green for 2 months of Tarek Skubal, then that's the win in my book. That's not what I'm saying that Zaire Hope is going to be, but like he looks very good and it's kind of a similar archetype. But yeah, there's a lot. Like I keep going back and forth on how pissed I want to be and how, like the Tigers will post like, "Oh, thank you, Skubal," and it makes me sad. And then I see Skubal's interview at the end of the game yesterday, and that made me sad. And he started crying, and I started crying. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, "Well, this is what you wanted, so why are you sad about it?" And it's kind of all. It's all over the place.
Right before the interview, Tarek Skubal was seen chopping onions and like flicking water onto his face,
wiping his tears with the bags of money that he's going to get next year.
You have to be careful about the water.
I just love. We were so close here in Detroit, and we just couldn't get over the top.
Yeah. Like, no, like, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of like, well, this is what you wanted, man. Did you not think about what that would mean? Like, shut up. But whatever.
Do you still think it's a messy breakup?
It's still messy. It was never not going to be messy considering who Skubal's agent is and considering the way that Scott Harris plays things as a front office. It was never not going to be messy. And I think it would have been silly to think it was going to be a clean break. Like, and you also have to realize in the past 2 weeks before this trade happened, 2 important pieces of information came out. Skubal said that he didn't get an MRI when he knew there was something wrong with his elbow. And it was also leaked that his preferred free agent landing is with the Dodgers. So, like, maybe you couldn't have gotten as much as you would have liked from a trade because of that stuff, So there's kind of a lot going back and forth. But I think overall, my thoughts is I am satisfied with this trade return. I don't have to like the fact that we are trading him, but we were never going to be able to re-sign him. That was never going to happen. This just means he's a Dodger 4 months earlier than he was always going to be. And we got 2 really good players that I think are going to contribute in 2027 and 2028, and a guy who could be impactful down the line as well. So
I by the way, I don't think it's a done deal that he signs with the Dodgers.
Sure.
I mean, like, and especially again, as we've discussed, things are going to look very different. When things are going to look different when free agency hits, and I mean, if he wants to go to the Dodgers, this might be his best opportunity to do so. I don't think that I don't want to say that I've said before that Scooble doesn't seem to be particularly media savvy to me. And I don't think that crying and tearing up during your final interview as a member of the Tigers was the right thing to do. I feel like he should have played it a little closer to the chest in that moment. And like, I'm not someone who's shy about showing people how I feel. But I felt like in that moment, that was a little bit of like, okay, buddy, you're getting exactly what you want. You knew this team, like from the beginning of the season, you knew this team was going nowhere. So what's the problem here, buddy? Did you love living in Detroit that much that you're so sad that you have to go live in LA now? Is property values a lot higher, and taxes, I'm sure, don't look tax bill be a little bit more out in California than it is in Detroit. But like, what's the issue here? What are we crying about, buddy?
remember, he could have stopped it at any point. He could have signed a contract at any time, but he didn't want to.
Yeah.
So he got what he wanted. Like, I don't know why we have to pretend that this isn't what he asked for, you know?
I mean,
like,
you take the teams out of it, and I hate to play this side, but like at the same time, like he's also leaving the team that drafted him. He's leaving his home. Like, come on. I agree, Sam. And I didn't get to see the interview, so I don't know if it was really just cutting onions beforehand. But like, Tarek doesn't come off to me as a guy who would be like that. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying that he was pretending. That was a joke earlier. That was me being facetious. I'm simply saying that being a little bit in a situation like this, I think it's probably best for him to just, control yourself, control your emotions a little bit better. And maybe he's a guy who's I mean, I don't know. Okay, I don't.
Right.
But that struck me as kind of like a moment where it's like, and yes, I understand this is the team that drafted him. This has, been his home for, however many years now. But I just kind of like how in this day and age, how important how valuable, how much do guys actually value that anymore? And maybe he does. Again, maybe he does. But to me, I'm just like, dude, don't try to make this into something that it isn't.
I guess what you're getting at is, and I don't know how much I buy it, is I guess what you're saying. Like, I don't know how much I buy he's so sad to be leaving, all this stuff, when he spent the past 2 years doing all the PR stuff and all this stuff that feels super fake. And he says, I want to stay here for 2 more months and all this other stuff. And it's like, you were never going to stay here. Like, why are you acting like this is some big tragedy that you had no hand in? It's not like the Tigers don't want you. They want you. You won't stay there.
I mean, this to me, if I could, this kind of reminds me of what LeBron leaving Cleveland was like. Because ultimately, I don't know if he really wanted
The first
to leave.
time or the second time?
The first time. I don't know if he really wanted to leave, but he knew that for his career and for what he wanted in his life, it was better to do what he was doing.
To be fair to Tarek, he did not hold a ESPN special, basically giving his former city the finger. He gave the city the finger 2 weeks ago when he said he wanted to stay for the next 2 months, but that's a different degree, I feel.
LeBron, I give a little bit of a pass to, because LeBron was a guy who never left home in his life, right? He was born and raised in Ohio, didn't go to college, went to the Cavaliers immediately. Like Scooble grew up in Arizona, moved to California, played college in Washington, and then went to Detroit. Like he's, it's not like we're talking about a guy who's a Michigander, born and raised, went to Central Michigan to play his college ball and got drafted by the, it's a little different than that.
So he's not Dylan Lloyd, what you're saying.
And I don't want to do if we want to do a LeBron show someday, I'll be happy to do that. But just to put this succinctly, all the stuff that Sam just described is, I think, why the angst was so heavy 15 years ago when that occurred, because of the trauma is too melodramatic of a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. The trauma of this city not winning a championship in like 54 years. And the narrowly not winning it so many different times with all the teams. We kind of expected LeBron to be aware of all that stuff and how, hey, man, if you leave, like, it's going to hit us in the feels big time. And he went and did it in the most uncaring way towards all of that he possibly could have. And so, yeah, people were really angry about that because we thought he was one of us and understood all that. And he made it known that he clearly had no clue. Now, that's all water under the bridge now. That's all fine. We've moved on. And, he came back and it ended up having a happy ending. So that's
I was about to say, he came back and completed the mission, and then he left again, but it was better.
Yes. So I don't think that's anything like Scooble, quite frankly. That's completely different. And I just think Squibble's not very self-aware. Like, that's what
he isn't.
I don't think he's very smart.
The way I'd put it. And beyond that, that's all personality stuff. Ultimately, who cares? It is what it is. We ended up in the same place you're going to end up anyway. The one thing I would say is there are two ways that we wouldn't come to this conclusion at this point in time. One is that Tarek would decide that he wanted to stay in Detroit because he loves it so much, which he says is true, and I believe him to a point. He didn't put his money where his mouth is. That's fine. The other one was Detroit could not be 53 and 58 right now with all the money they have sunk into this team this year. They should be winning this division, quite frankly. But as we talked about a couple of weeks ago in the midseason review, they do not do the little things well. And so I hope they've gathered some talent in this. It appears that they have. You never know what you're going to get out of these trades. You can try and plan and plot and try to get the best prospects you can. In 2008, I believe it was, 2007, I forget what, 2008, the Indians traded CC Sabathia, and they traded him for Matt Laporta, who was the big-time prospect for the Milwaukee Brewers, as well as a player to be named later. Matt Laporta washed out of the league in 5 years. He was never even a regular starter. The player to be named later was a guy named Michael Brantley, who went on to have a very good career both with Cleveland and outside of it. You just never know what's going to hit and what isn't. You do your best to try to figure that out. Doesn't mean you can't make a judgment on a trade like this, but getting 2 top 5 prospects is a good start. The one thing I would say is I'm surprised that Detroit didn't go for something a little bit closer to MLB ready. I know Ryan is, but not so much Hope. So
Hope looks like he's on the brink of being promoted to AAA, and depending on how that goes in the offseason, he's a candidate to potentially start on the opening day roster in 2027. I think it's very likely he makes an appearance in the majors in 27, depending on how that goes.
Now, he is also 21 years old in AA, so he's going to be 20. Like, I'm assuming the Tigers will put him in AAA fairly quickly, but whatever. When he does make that debut, it'll still be a 21-year-old in in AAA, and I think that's like 5 or 6 years younger than the average competition. So he's ahead of schedule. So one thing we'll move on here because we have better news for Detroit. But
I think the only thing if I can just put a bow on what I'm saying, if I were Scooble, I wouldn't have done the interview in the first place.
Sure. Yeah. At the end of the day. Sure.
Yeah. I would have gone up to whatever reporter in Detroit that I'm, close to, and I would have just said, hey, grateful to the organization, glad for everything they've done for me, sad to go, but looking forward to the next chapter. And that would
at least not on video.
Not on video, yeah.
Yeah. Before we go on to the happier thing, I forgot to put in the notes one more sad thing, which is Jake Rogers was DFA'd and traded.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me very sad. That makes everyone very sad. He's a fan favorite, been in the organization since the Justin Verlander trade tree lives on in the 24-year-old guy in AA that we got. So.
Whose name you've mentioned this 3 times and whose name you have not looked up. That's how much hope there is.
Some goofy name. Yeah, I don't remember. Right. He's promising, but it's not a particularly. Right. It's pretty much what we expected to get for Jake Rogers. Right. But yeah, I just wanted to say for Jake Rogers, I mean, he was just a very big clubhouse guy. He's been around for forever. It feels great defense at one point. He's got the mustache. Yeah, we love him. It's very sad to see him go.
I'll go back to Scooble for a second, then we're going to talk about Max Clark. But if your instant reaction is that you're mad because Scooble went to the Dodgers, get the fuck over it. Your team could have made a much better offer should they chose to. So I'll leave it at that. Let's talk about Max Clark, who we're just going to show highlights of his first game. And we're going to have plenty of time talking about Max Clark. So at the end of this highlight, I would like to be done talking about Max Clark. So he's been it's 6 minutes, Lee. You have time. So this was his debut. Lee, go ahead and gush.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for him. I really like this guy. He's very exciting player, whether or not he's going to be good or not, I guess is a good way of putting it, in terms of he's very flashy. Just looking at his stuff for this year, he started off hot, kind of cooled down in May and June, but July he has 1,000 OPS and has 5 home runs in the month of July. So yeah, very good defense on top of that as well. So if he was going to be pulled up, this is a great time to do it, whether or not he flounders or succeeds. And so far he's succeeding. Do you want to know how well he's succeeding? So in the modern era of baseball, there have been over 3,000 players to make their debut at age 21 or younger. There is exactly one player who had done so and has at least 5 total bases in both of his first 2 games, and that player is Max Clark. Here's another stat for you. Since the modern era, there are 3 Tigers players who have come up at age 21 or younger and had multiple extra base hits and 3+ hits in their MLB debut. Would anyone like to guess who those 3 players are? Because you're going to guess 2 of them.
McGonigal and Clark.
Yep, McGonigal, Clark, and Billy Beane in 1987. So yeah, I mean, just right away, he's looked very nice. Like, okay, it is the A's. It's a minor league ballpark.
Yep.
I don't care. His at-bats look very good. Look, right away, there's maybe a little bit of worry that he's a bit too passive because it took him a while to swing a bat for the first time.
Well, but he had a good at-bat. I don't think he was passive. Yeah. They did not throw him a strike.
I'm not calling anybody passive off of one at-bat. Whoever's doing that, whatever person on the internet's doing that, that's silly.
There was another at-bat that I was kind of like, it was 4 pitches and he strikes out looking and he didn't swing at any of them. You know what I mean? There was a kind of like a,
okay.
I'm not worried about it, but like it's a thing to look at is my point.
Okay. I'll listen to that.
But yeah, because he does not swing and miss at all. If he swings, it's because he's going to hit the ball and put it into play, pretty much. Like he's got like a 9% whiff rate in the minors, which is incredibly high.
In the minors, he has a 9% whiff rate.
As a 21-year-old. As a 21-year-old.
All right. Yep. Sure.
So, yeah. Yeah, his defense, he hasn't really had much opportunity to show off the defense as much, but it's looked fine in what we've seen. 2 games. I am very excited for him. He's gonna have steal potential. We haven't really seen that yet. He's very fast. He's got a 70 grade run tool on top of the 50 grade hit and the 60 grade power. So yeah, overall, I guess my point is I don't want to see James Outman take another at bat. we got Max Clark now, and I like what we've seen in the 2 games that we have. I guess. All right, I guess.
What
I'm
is
done
also
for now.
kind of funny too. So we streamed his debut. We were on camera for 6 hours, which is a disgusting amount of time to be on camera. And one side note, Sam did a drive-by because his friend said that Tarek Skubal was traded. So he jumped on the stream, said it, made me like look at everything. Turned out that was false. And then we had to go back to normal. But then secondly, Max Clark also got a chain. He has a chain that says MG on it, or MC. He got Tarek Skubal basically the same chain. So a rookie who had never made his debut bought like a $10,000 chain.
This was like a year ago. He bought it as a prospect.
Which is just like interesting that the rookie got the veteran the gift.
Does Skubal have to give that back now that he's going to LA?
Yes. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's in his contract. Now, in his post-game interview, he just sounds so mature and just all the great things that you want to see. Like, I'm basically saying all the same things I said about McGonagall when McGonagall debuted in terms of he just looks so much older than 21, you know?
He looks like he's 21.
I mean, in terms of his at-bats and the maturity there.
Baseball maturity.
I'll say this. I don't think that guy's going to be phased by playing in Yankee Stadium or having to face insert ace pitcher here. He seems like the kind of like an irrational confidence guy. Like he's going to face whoever and feel like he can hit it 500 feet, even if he really can't. And there's something to that. Like that matters a little.
I agree with you, Dan, but I think he does strike me as the type of guy who's going to be phased by going through an 0 for 15.
That's probably
now. That's a good point, and I'd be curious to see if that's true because you very well may be right. And how do guys deal with failure?
He seems to me like someone who's never failed in his life, and sometimes that's a bad thing for a professional athlete.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't think you're necessarily wrong.
Yeah, we'll see. He seems like the unshakable confidence guy to me, but I can see what you're saying. Like, also, we're gonna find out. By the way, we're probably gonna find out before the end of the season. But yeah,
he struggled a little bit in Toledo as well. Like he had a kind of a rough May. Like he was only batting .230 and he had a 700 OPS. Like that's not terrible as a 21-year-old in AAA, but like it's not exceeding. And then he figured it out.
Okay.
For the record, I will be taking the under on Max Clark.
Okay.
All right. Well, we had a game yesterday where both Kevin McGonagall and Max Clark homered in the same game, which is the first time in Tigers history that 2 21-year-olds have homered in the same game.
Stop. Not a real stat. Stop.
Let's put
too far.
The first
too much.
time that a player with a mustache has hit a home run on a Tuesday in the rain without,
Boo.
I think it is fair to say this is a very nerdy baseball podcast, but Lee, let's temper it down just a minute.
I like stats like that. Come on.
I mean, you guys were all jazzed about the ultimate grand slam. Like, before that was a thing 2 days ago. Like, by the way, incredible action by Kody Clemens, not denigrating the home run itself in the event.
100%. And I'm
telling
telling
it
Roger,
an ultimate grand slam like that was a thing. Sam, I was expecting you to
I had never heard that before either.
Yeah,
Dan.
me neither. And so we made up a name for a really cool thing. Why can't it just be a really cool thing?
Anyone wanted to have a better name than Maddox?
No. I think Maddox is cool. So all of you are wrong.
Sorry to digress there, but I've been sitting on that and it's been bothering me.
We're not.
You guys just want.
We actually are haters. We're all in the same division.
I am a hater.
Okay, fine.
This has been a very hater episode, quite frankly.
It has
And
been.
to push back, I think that same irrational confidence might get him out of an 0 for 15 slump. I got a bad feeling that Max Clark is going to be a very infuriating player to watch as a fan of an opposing
Oh
team.
no! The
And
next
hey,
coming
you know
of
what?
Josh Naylor.
There are a lot of guys who have had a lot of confidence who have come up to the major leagues over the years, and again, I think he everything about him screams bust to me.
I see what you're going for. I don't think you're crazy for thinking that. I just don't know that I agree.
I will. If this does this help or hurt if I tell you that his favorite player growing up that he wants to emulate is Bryce Harper?
That hurts.
That seems right.
That sounds about right,
Yeah,
honestly.
If he says anything about a clown question, then we know we're in trouble. Or
By the way, Harper worked out,
he
obviously.
did. And for how hyped up Bryce Harper was, that's almost a miracle.
And then had his GM, his owner, call him out. Anyway,
I think
There's Bryce Harper had some bumps and bruises in his career. Let's not act like he didn't.
Yes, he said some really stupid things when he was in Washington, but he was also a literal teenager when he debuted.
Yeah.
Also, does anyone remember back when memes were just starting to be a thing, and he called them memes?
No.
There's an actual. It was like literally like 19-year-old pre-beard by Bryce Harper, and it was right around the "That's a clown question, bro" quote. He said something about like that's going to be a meme or something like that, and the internet had a pretty good field day with that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think to summarize a little bit for Max Clark, with all the hype and excitement with Kevin McGonigal and how he came up and immediately was a top 5 player in the American League, I think it's very easy to forget that Max Clark is also an elite prospect who has been top 15 global prospect for the past 3 years. This is a guy with very high tools all around, 5-tool player. His floor is a defensive wizard with good contact. His ceiling is a very high ceiling. This is going to be another guy who has a very real chance of being an immediate impact top player on this team.
But also, if he's just average for the rest of the year, that's also encouraging. He does not need to be best player on the Tigers. He can just be adequate and grow into the role also. So
if he's average, that's an improvement over Matt Vierling and James Outman and Wencel Perez. So I count that as a win. But I don't think he's going to be average. I think he's going to be better than average.
Okay. So, I think we can move on from there. I think we're gonna do the normal like series predictions because we have 2 of those coming up this week. So I'm gonna do the schedules, and then if we have time, I do want to just do a quick approaching the deadline, just a yes or no on players. And I know like Lee and I think Ty have to leave here relatively quickly, so we need to get the predictions in. But so let's do the schedules, but we'll see if we have time for that other thing. If not, the reason we want to do it, or at least I want to do it, is we can track it when we stream tomorrow for the trade deadline official. So anyway, let's show up the schedules, which of course I did not put on while I was talking. So I'm buying 2 seconds worth of time to get some of these up. Okay, let's show our screen.
What time is this trade deadline tomorrow?
6 p.m.
5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
I think it's 6 p.m.
Yeah, so late afternoon, early evening, late afternoon. So, all right, the White Sox where are we at for this schedule? Oh my god. Okay, so they're filling up the Rays.
2 of 3 from the Rays. Yay.
2 of 3 from the Rays, and also like other than the shutout yesterday, they've been scoring a lot of runs. They're at Boston and then going at home to Cleveland. Cleveland have the Mets and then are at the White Sox. The Twins have the Royals, and then I believe the Royals, and then I don't want to face the Brewers, but I guess it's after the trade deadline, so I guess I'll take it. The Tigers will have
We're
The
leading.
Mariners, and then the Giants, and then finally the Royals, who unfortunately I think are they getting swept by the Rockies?
Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're down 4-1. So they have the Twins and the Cubs, and then, good Lord, the Dodgers the week after. So Sam, I'm very, very sorry.
What is
I
AG
think
night?
I think the Royals are going to beat the Dodgers,
Ooh.
I would love it against.
and
Scooter.
there's going to be some great meme potential.
Yes.
What is
Everyone will.
AG night? I am curious.
Ag
on that.
night.
Oh yeah, egg night. Yeah, farmers.
Oh,
Agriculture.
gotcha.
Virtue signaling.
I would say that is a much better promo than allergen or like peanut night or peanut free night that they had a couple.
Oh
of
yeah.
So that was weird, but I guess good. God bless them. They did something for people with peanut allergies, but whatever. Okay, so let's start off with
We
the
need to
Twins.
stop. We need to stop kowtowing to big peanut allergy.
Big
Sure.
peanut allergy.
You tell those fourth graders that with anaphylaxis for peanuts that they're taking up too much. Too
In
much.
your
crap.
time as head lunch lady, how many allergy issues have there been, Eric? Let's talk about this while we're in a hurry.
I'm not going to tell you it's a daily occurrence, but there is at least 100 kids in the district with 10,000 that have a severe anaphylactic peanut allergy, or if it's airborne, I can't even have peanut in the building. So it is a thing. And you work around it because it's really not that hard. You just avoid tree nuts. And shockingly enough, not a lot of kids like tree nuts. It's the weirdest thing.
Hey,
So,
I've avoided potatoes for 30 years, so.
you poor boy. How?
You're allergic to potatoes.
Anyway, season predictions. Sorry.
You can't leave us hanging
I
like
do.
that.
I do
You're in
have
the
to
mid-
move on. Like I'm being waved at.
Oh my God. Okay.
so
Well,
sorry.
Ty,
Oh,
you
yes,
have.
yes.
We'll start off with you. We'll do two series: the Twins and the Royals. Who you got?
Twins,
And then for the Guardians and White Sox.
Sox. Thank you.
White Sox.
See you
Good
later,
luck.
Ty.
See you guys soon.
See ya.
Okay, now we can do this like normal. Lee, who you got?
All right, it's at Kansas City and at Chicago, right?
Chicago.
Mhm.
Okay, I am going to take the Royals because I think they only lost because of a bunch of random bullshit, and they're going to be at home, and that's going to be a little bit of an advantage.
What bullshit do you mean? Like, what possible bullshit happened in the last series? Dan.
Only one of these teams is really competing right now. Twins win the series.
Twins. Sam.
Burn it to the ground. Give me the Twins.
Very nice. I don't want to say the baseball gods are about to be out for Minnesota, but I don't think you can have the series you just had, who they should have lost that series. They should have been swept. I can't see them getting away with twice. The baseball gods are going to come with a vengeance. So I'm going to take a risk and say it's the Royals, even though I'm going to be very sad when it happens. So Lee, Guardians, White Sox at White Sox.
Give me the White Sox. The Guardians are just kind of a. I don't
They're
want to say
struggling.
I'm bad.
We didn't talk about that
They're-
today,
Yeah,
but they're struggling.
see it, man. It really sucks.
Yeah, you're heartbroken. Dan.
I'm so sad. You can see by my face.
So first of all, this is on the road. It's in Chicago. The last road trip the Guardians on, they scored 3-0-0, 6-0, and 6. They were 3 or less, 4 times? And lo and behold, if you actually look at the stats, Chicago is 5th and 5th in the last 30 days.
Mhm.
They've turned it around. I think the White Sox are going to sweep the Guardians, if I'm being objective.
Sam.
Yeah, give me the Sox.
Oh God, how do I do this?
You know what you have to do.
I'm not going to say the phrase, but I did go against the group for the Royals. Sorry, Lee, that you were definitely with the group, but I might lose a point because the Twins, in theory, should win that series. So I'm going to try to balance out my points. I'm going to go Guardians.
Hell yeah.
Even though they have played really poorly for about 2 weeks now, and that's somewhat concerning. But who knows? Maybe they acquire someone big at the deadline. So I'll go the Guardians, even though I'm not that confident on my picks this week. I'll be honest with you. For someone who has done six straight, I'm not confident that I'm going to get 7 or 8, but we'll see.
You won 6 straight. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Oh, is it? I can't believe I haven't mentioned that I've had 6 straight serious predictions. Do you want to go back? Can we review them? I picked no, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So.
You just picked Split and the Twins for all of them.
Okay, so I do want to do this. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but we are under 2 hours for the first time in a minute. So we don't need to spend time. I just did the Athletics big board rankings, and these are the players that were on their top 60. And then I even added in a couple guys that I thought would get traded. We actually talked about Seth Lugo quite a bit, and then Josh Bell, I think, has a above average chance. All we're doing is yes or no if they're being traded. That's all we need. So Tarek Skubal got traded, so we kind of jumped the gun. So the number above them is just what the Athletic ranked them in their last update. So Joe Ryan is still on this list for some reason, but Lee, does Joe Ryan get traded? Yes or no? No. Sorry, keep in mind I need to do this, and then no. Dan, Joe Ryan trade. Sam.
Twins are buying.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
Any reason behind that, or you just want chaos?
The market has been set, and it is a seller's market. And you're gonna get seeing what Skubal went for, you're gonna get something good in return for Ryan.
We're going to ask Ty later, and then I'm going to say no, because they've already got 2 pieces. Casey Mize is number 17. Lee, will he be traded?
Yes. There's too much smoke for him going to the Braves right now, and I think he goes to the Braves.
Dan?
Just traded Skubal. Why wouldn't you trade Mize? Yes.
Sam?
No. Someone has to pitch for this team.
This is fair. Ask Ty later. I'm going to go yes. I think, like Lee said, I think the floodgates are open. Number 24, Ryan Jeffers. Lee.
Someone's going to overpay for him. Yes.
Dan.
I don't care that the Twins are buying.
Twins are going for it. No. They'll take their draft pick.
If I do think that is a big shift. If he's willing to reject the qualifying offer. Sam.
The Twins can make something happen without Joe Ryan. I don't think they can make something happen without Ryan Jeffers. No.
Okay. I will say no, because I think that qualifying offer matters a lot. And they can now hold their line at a top 100 prospect instead of having to fall to it. Number 37 is Gleyber Torres. Lee.
Yes, they're not stupid. He's on an expiring contract and no qualifying offer available. We have other guys who could play second.
Dan.
Yes.
Sam.
Yes.
I mean, yes. There's no reason that they're not going to trade Skubal and then not trade Torres, who is like the biggest, obvious, biggest candidate. Number 39, Michael Wacha. Lee.
No, I don't think the Royals are asking too much.
Dan.
I think they need to. Yeah, they will.
Sam.
Yes. You can't not.
I kind of agree with Lee. I think they're going to hold on. To him. I think they should trade him for whatever value they can get, but I just think I've heard too much that the Royals are holding a high bar, but also nobody can be trusted at the trade deadline. So I'm leaning towards no. Once traded 2 days ago, Trevor Larnach. Do we think he will be traded? Lee.
They're actively shopping him. Yeah, he's going to get traded.
Dan.
He gone.
Sam.
The funniest outcome is that he doesn't get traded. So I want to go with the outcome for the highest meme potential.
I think that's fair. Honestly, I kind of agree with you. Like, I think I don't know the market for Trevor Larnach. I'm going to assume it is not that great. So
It's even worse now.
I was about to say that's what I'm saying. I don't know. The Astros might be the only team that would have been like actually interested in him, and it was a challenge trade for a underperforming Brian Abreu. So I'm going to put no. I think it's going to be awkward as hell in that clubhouse, but I do think like that may have been their only opportunity. And we can add more names onto this too. These are just the two names I thought of. Josh Bell, who has been traded more than almost any player in the history of baseball. Lee.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for 2 months. It's going to happen.
Dan.
Josh Bell's part of the winning. No.
I think, yeah, actually, I'm going to go. Okay. Yep. Sam.
No.
I think you cannot hold on to Josh Bell or Trevor Larnach. One of them has to go. So by my own logic, I think they'll keep Larnach, and I think they will trade Bell. Because Larnach also does have another year of team control. And then we can always add, but right now the last person on the list, and these aren't, Bell was not on the Athletics big board, either is Seth Lugo, because it only went up to 60 players. Seth Lugo getting traded, yes or no?
Same logic as Waka, no.
Dan.
They won't get much for him, but yes.
Sam.
He just got shelled by the Rockies. No.
Oh, no. I think they're going to hold the line. I don't think they're going to trade him. I think they're going to want too much that a team's going to stomach. Is there a player we want to add?
Kenley Jansen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Kenley Jansen. Oh, my goodness, no. What are we doing?
Then I have to go after this. So.
Okay. Lee.
He's going to be traded. He's on an expiring contract, and he kind of sucks. He just almost blew the game yesterday again. So.
Yes. Dan.
Yes.
Sam.
No. Who would want him?
You can get a flyer for him, I think. I think yes. Any other name we want to put on here?
Is Stephen Kwan automatic no's from everybody?
He's a no for me.
He'd be a no for me. They have another year team control, and he looks like himself. They did trade for an outfielder, so maybe they're setting a floor.
No.
One name I could add, I don't think we need to, but Victor Carantini, if you keep Jeffers, you could trade Carantini.
How about this name? And you guys aren't going to know what this name is, but I'll explain. Caleb Bonemer.
Oh, the White Sox #1.
Is the White Sox #1 prospect.
I think we can. I would prefer to just put like 1 through 5 White Sox prospect, but we can put Caleb down there as our go-to. Lee. Caleb.
They said they won't. They won't.
No, they will hold on. Okay. Dan.
Yes.
Sam.
No.
I think the White Sox need to be aggressive for a good starting pitcher. I know Peralta just got taken off the board, so I'm going to go yes. Ooh, that's a deep fly ball. Please catch it. Thank you. Okay. Okay. I think, unless there's anyone else we want to add quickly, I think we can kind of leave it at that. We can also add on after the air too. We're really just tracking this tomorrow, should we choose to. So unless there's a last second name, Sterling Marte, but maybe, who knows? Okay. Well, with that, hey, how about an episode under 2 hours this time? We've been lengthy, but it also helps that we talked an hour over Tarek Skubal yesterday, because that would have taken up the entire show, I think, if we would have talked about that. So with that, we'll be back tomorrow sometime to live stream the deadline, probably halfway through the afternoon. I'm entering the part of my season where I am going back to work, so I don't have all the time in the world, but should be fun. Should be exciting. We'll see who makes good decision, who wants to cry at the end of the day, and hopefully the Twins don't blow up the team again. That would make me very, very sad. I can't do that 2 years in a row. So with that said, talk to you all later.